Chapter 2, Functions. Function is a group of statements within a program that perform a specific task, usually one task of a large program. Well, as you can see here, this program is one long program which consists of a sequence of statements. However, the same program over here divided into smaller tasks, each one performed by a separate function. The first one has a name, function 1. The second one name is function 2. The third one name is function 3. So in order to execute this part of the program, I have to call the function name function 1, or function 2, or function 3. Benefits of modularizing a program with functions. Well, the first one is simpler code. Instead of writing a complex program like this one, I can split my program into a set of functions where each function will contain segment of the code. The second one is code reuse. Write the code once and call it in multiple times. As you can see here, I can keep calling this function more than one time. However, if I want to execute the program over here, I have to run the program from the first statement until the end. The third benefit is better testing and debugging, where you can test each function individually. So I can test the output of each function individually, and if there is an error in the first function or the second one or the third one, so I have to fix that function only, not to fix the whole program. The fourth one is faster development, as different team members can write different functions. Well, as you can see here, different team members can write different functions. So I can assign the first function to the first team member, the second function to the second team member, the third function to the third team member, while I cannot do this if I'm writing one longer program like this one. Types of the function. So I have two different types of the function. The first one is void function, while the second one is value returning function. Well, for the void function, simply executes the statements it's contained and then terminates. As an example, for the void function is the function print. So when you call the function print and pass a parameter over here, so this function will print out the content of the parameter, and it will not return any value. For that, it's a void function. While over here, value returning function, it's a function, whenever you call it, it will return a value, such as input, int, float. And as an example here, input parentheses, it means I will call the function input, and I will be waiting or expecting for an input from the user, and this input will be saved in the variable user underscore input. So this is an example for a value returning function, input. Similar exactly to function int. Int, it means I am expecting an input from the user, and this input of type integer. So once I get the input from the user of type integer or of type float, it will be saved in a local variable because the function input and int and float will return a value. Okay, how to define and call a function in Python? Well, to define a function in Python, it has to be started with the def, stand for definition, followed by the function name. In this example, message, followed by open and close parentheses, ended by colon. After that, you have to list the segment of the code or the part of the code After that, you can start calling the method. And in order to call the method, you have to use the method name like message, followed by open and close parentheses without adding the colon. Okay, so functions are giving a names, and this is the rule for the name. You cannot use the keywords as a function name. Like what a keyword in Python? Like the word true, or false, or and, not, if, else. I cannot assign a name or a keywords as a name for the function in Python. Otherwise, I will get an error, and we will practice on this now. It cannot contain a spaces. So if there is a function that will include two names, I cannot include a space between the names. So I have to add underscore after the first name or attach both names together. First character must be a letter or underscore, similar to this one. The first character of the name, it has to be a letter or underscore. All other characters must be letter, number, or underscore. After the first character, you can use a letter, number, or underscore. Uppercase and lowercase characters are distinct. Okay, as an example for this, I can move over here. Okay, for the main function, it is common to have it, and it will be called when a program starts. It also will call other functions when they are needed. To practice on this, let's copy the example over here. Okay, so in this program, I have two functions. The first one is the main function, while the second one is the message function. And over here, the first line in my program is I am calling the method main. So interpreter will directly move to execute the method name. The first line will be executed over here is I have a message for you. So it will be printed in the console output. After printing out this message, interpreter will find that the next statement is calling for the second function, which is message. So the interpreter will stop the execution of the main after here, and it will directly move to the content of the message. So it will print out, I am Arthur, king of the Bretons. After that, once the message function ends, so the interpreter will return in order to continue the execution of the main, and it will print out goodbye. So the sequence of the output over here is interpreter will call main will execute this statement. So I will get in the console output, I have a message for you, followed by I am Arthur, followed by king of the Bretons, ended by goodbye. So in order to test this program, will be the output. So main followed by the output of the message function, ended by the last statement or the last statement in the main function, and this will be the end of the execution of this program. Okay, let's return back to the previous slide regarding the naming rules. It cannot use the keywords. I cannot replace the main by the word true. Otherwise, I will get an error over here, and the error here is expected function name. Why? Because the interpreter is not considering the word true as a function name. Why? Because it is a keyword. If you replace true by false, you will get the same error. If you replace false by and, same error, not, same error, or, same error, if, else, or, else, if. So the conclusion is you cannot use the keywords as a function name. For the second part, cannot contain spaces. For example, main space function. This is not accepted in Python. Why? Because the function name here has a space. How can I overcome this issue? By adding underscore, accepted, or by attaching main function and replacing small f by capital F. So in that case, it will be readable main function. For sure, I will get an error here because I am calling a function which is not exists. So I have to copy the function name from here to here. And in this case, I will get the same output. Okay, first character must be a letter or underscore. So if you try to replace the first character by something like a number, you will get an error. It has to be a letter or underscore like this. Accepted. Okay, all other characters must be a letter, number, or underscore. It means it will be accepted. Indentation in Python. It's very important to include the indentation in Python. Well, each block must be indented. Lines in block must begin with the same number of spaces. Lines in block. This is, you can consider it as a block. Why? Because it's the main part or the main code of the function greeting. Use tabs or space to indent the lines in a block, but do not use both as it will confuse the Python interpreter. So as an example over here, if you want to indent the line, you can use the tab or you can use the spaces. However, if you will be using the spaces, make sure that the spaces in the first line is exactly typical to the spaces in the second line. Also, it's typical to the spaces in the third line. However, I do not prefer to use the spaces. The easiest one is to directly use the tab. So I can select the 3 lines, click on tab, and it will directly add spaces and it will be equal in the different 3 lines. The first line will have 1, 2, 3, 4 different spaces, the second the same, and the last one also the same. So you can use the tab or the spaces. However, I prefer to use the tab. IDEs such as Visual Studio automatically indent the line in the block. Yes, over here, if you define that will be a function, so directly, once you click enter, so it will automatically add indentation to the line. And over here also, once you click enter, it will automatically add indentation to the line. So the interpreter here will be able to understand that because of the colon. Because of the colon, the interpreter will understand that this is the first line in the function, so, or this is the header of the function, so the first line has to be indented. Okay, blank lines that appear in the block are ignored. Yes, for sure. Over here, if I have a blank line, so the interpreter will ignore and it will not perform any task over here. As an example, if I have the function greeting, so the last indented line is the last line in the block. So this line, interpreter will understand that this is the end of the block or this is the end of the function. As you can see here, interpreter will be able to distinguish that this is the end of the function and this line is at the beginning of another function. Local variable and scope. Local variable is a variable that is assigned a value inside a function. Belongs to the function in which it was created. As an example, if I add number 1 equal to 10. So number 1 over here will be considered as a local variable. What does it mean, a local variable? Local variable, it means that this variable is accessible only inside this function. It's local for this function. However, if you try to print out the content of this variable in message function, you will not be able to do it. Why? Because it has a scope. Number 1, as a local variable, has a scope. And the scope for that variable is the function main function. It means it will not be readable or it will not be accessible from outside this function. So if you come over here and you try to print out the number 1, you will not be able to get any output. Number 1 is not defined. So this is a warning that number 1 is not defined. Why? Because it's defined here as a local variable. However, it's not accessible over here. And this is the explanation of belongs to the function in which it was created. Number 1, it belongs to the function where it was created. So number 1 belongs to main function. Scope, the part of the program in which a variable may be accessed, like here. So this part of the program is the scope of the variable number 1. It means number 1 will be recognized only in this scope. Well, there is an example over here. That explains the idea of the local variable and scope. Okay, so in this program, it has 2 functions. The first function is main and the second function is getName. So the first function will be executed in this program is the one that will be called in line 12. Main. Main, it will call the second function, which is getName. GetName, the interpreter will directly come over here in order to execute the content of the function getName. And the content of the function getName is calling the function input. And this question will appear in the console output over here. And once I get the answer from the user, so the answer from the user will be saved in the local variable name. Once I am done with the execution of the getName function, so the interpreter will return to execute the remaining code in the main function. In the remaining code in the main function here, I will call the method print or the function print that will print out the word hello, followed by the variable name. However, here I have a warning that name is not defined. Why? Because it's defined here as a local variable, so it will be accessible in this scope only, and I cannot access it out of the getName. I cannot access it out of the getName. For that, this will cause an error. Different functions may have local variables with the same name. Each function does not see the other function's local variables, so no confusion. And let's practice on this example. Okay, so over here, I have 3 different functions. The first one is the main. The second one is Texas. The last one is California. So over here, I will be calling the main function. So the interpreter will directly move to the content of the main function. The content of the main function, I am calling another function, which is Texas. So the interpreter will stop the execution of the function main in order to move to Texas. In Texas, I will be declaring a local variable. The name of the variable is birds. And I will assign a value to this local variable, and this value is 5,000. Then, using the method print, I will print out this message. Texas has followed by the value of the local variable birds. So I will get 5,000 followed by birds. So the output of this function will be Texas has 5,000 birds. Then once I am done with the execution of the Texas function, interpreter will return to the main function in order to continue with the rest of the code. Rest of the code here is I am calling the second function, which is California. So the interpreter will stop the execution of the main function in order to go directly to California function. In California, I have a local variable in the same name of the local variable which exists in Texas, birds, birds. However, birds here, I will assign the value 8,000 to birds, and I will get this message, California has 8,000 birds. And here we prove that I can declare two local variables, one in Texas and one in California. Both local variables has the same name. However, the first one will be accessible only in the scope of Texas, while the second one will be accessible only in the scope of California. So the interpreter will not get confused. Okay, so will be the output. And if I combine and run this program, I will get this output. Texas has 5,000, while California has 8,000. Passing arguments to functions. So what is the argument? Argument is a piece of data that is sent into a function. Function can use argument in calculation. And when calling the function, the argument is placed in parentheses following the function name. Okay, so let's move to the practice exercise over here. So over here, I have two functions in this program. The first one is the main function, while the second one is show double function. For the first time, as you can see here, the second function, or one of the functions which exist in this program, has a parameter or an argument after the name of the function. So the execution of this program will be, interpreter will call the main. So the main will start the execution by declaring a local variable value and assign the value 5 to that local variable. Then in the next line, the interpreter will call the function show double, and it will take a copy of the value, which is equal to 5, and pass it to this function. So the interpreter will directly come over here in order to start the execution of show double function. And the content of value, which is equal to 5, will be copied to number. So interpreter will start the execution of show double by number equal to 5. Now, the result here is a local variable, which is equal to the value of number multiplied by 2. So as I mentioned, number has a value equal to 5, and number, which is 5, will be multiplied by 2, and it will produce, or the result will be 10. So 10 will be saved in result, and from show double function, I will print the value of the result, which is equal to 10. So compile and run, you will get 10. So this is how to pass an argument to a function. Passing multiple arguments. Can I pass more than one argument to a function in Python? The answer is yes. Python allows writing a function that accepts multiple arguments. Parameter list replaces single parameter. and the parameter list items separated by comma, as you can see here. Arguments are passed by position to corresponding parameters. The first parameter receives a value of the first argument, while the second parameter will receive a value of the second argument. Let's practice on this example. Okay, so in this program, it has two different functions. The first one is the main function, while the second one is show sum function. The first one, which is the main function, it will not receive any parameter, while the second one shows sum, it will receive two parameters. As you can see, I can split the first parameter from the second parameter by the comma. So the sequence of the execution over here, it will be as follows. The interpreter will call the function main. So the interpreter will go directly to the content of the function main, and it will print out this message. The sum of 12 and 45 is. Then, in order to print out the summation of 12 and 45, it will call show sum. Show sum, in order to start the execution, it should receive two parameters. So over here, I will be passing 12, which will be saved in num1, and I will pass 45, that will be saved in num2. So because of this line, the interpreter will stop the execution of the main, and it will directly go to execute show sum. Show sum will be the num1 over here will be initialized by 12, and the num2 over here will be initialized by 45. So result is a local variable which is declared inside the function show sum, and result will be used in order to save num1 plus num2. So 12 plus 45, the result will be 57. So the value that will be saved in the result will be 57. And over here, I will be printing the value of the result, so I will get 57 as a result of this program. Or I will get, to be more accurate, I will get the sum of 12 and 45 is 57. Combine and run. The sum of 12 and 45 is 57. Making changes to parameters. Changes made to a parameter value within the function do not affect the argument, and known as pass by value. Okay, let's practice on this exercise. So in this program, I have two functions. First one is the main function that will not receive any parameter, while the second one is change me function that will receive only one parameter. So the first line over here in the program is the main. So the interpreter will go directly in order to execute the main function. In the main function, there is a local variable value, and the value is initialized by 99. Then there is a print statement over here. So the interpreter will print out the value is, followed by the value which is saved in the variable value. So the output of this statement will be the value is 99. After that, I will be calling the function change me, and I will pass the value of 99 to this function. So the interpreter in this case will stop the execution of the program and, sorry, will stop the execution of the function, not the execution of the program. It will stop the execution of the function and will directly shift to the second function, which is change me. Now, value in main, it's equal to 99. And based on this call, so the interpreter will take a copy of the value, which is 99, and save it in argument. So the value of the argument now will be 99. So change me 99. So I am changing the value is a message that will be displayed in the console output over here. And the argument at the early beginning, it was equal to 99, while here I will replace 99 of the argument by 0. Then now the value is, it will print 0. The question is, do you think that argument equals 0 will affect the value in the main and it will be replaced by 0? The answer is no, because of this. I am passing the value, or I am copying the value. So actually, what will happen over here, I am taking a copy of the value, which is equal to 99, to be saved in arguments. So as a result, still, I have value equal 99 inside the main, and I have argument equal 99 inside change me. So when you replace argument from 99 to 0, it means argument will be equal to 0 inside change me, while value will remain equal to 99 inside the main. So the output of this program will be as follows. The value is 99. Then, because of this statement, interpreter will start the execution of the function change me. So after the value is 99, the interpreter will print out, I am changing the value in a line. Then in a new line, now the value is 0. And after I am done with the execution of change me function, the interpreter will return in order to execute the last line in the main. So the last line will print out, back in main, the value is 99. Test. So 99 in main, 0 in change me function, and while return back to the main, I will get the same value, which is 99. Remember, this is a local variable, and it's accessible only inside the main scope. And this is a local variable, and it's accessible only inside the change me scope. So any modification in the argument will be, or will affect only the change me function, and it will not affect the value which is exist in the main function. Global variables. Global variable created by assignment statement written outside all the functions. And this is the important part. It has to be written outside all the functions. Can be accessed by any statement in the program file. In a function needs to, if a function needs to assign a value to the global variable, the global variable must be redeclared within the function. Let's practice on this new concept, global variable. My value equal to 10 and number equal to 0. Okay, so this one, let's start by this program. Okay, so as you can see here, I have a variable initialized by 10. The name of the variable is my value. The question here is declaring and initializing the variable by 10. It was inside the function or any other function exists in this program or outside all the functions. The answer is declaration and initialization of the variable my value done outside the function or functions. So in that case, you can say that this variable is not local. This is a global. What does it mean, a global variable? It means this variable will be accessible from any function. This variable will be accessible from any function. As you can see here, in this program, I have a global variable initialized by 10, and I have only one function. The name of the function is show value, and that's it. So in order to execute this program, interpreter will directly go to the first statement in this program, which is calling the function show value. So the interpreter will come over here directly, and it will start the execution of the body of the function, which is print my value. My value, as you can see here, it's not declared inside the function. So the interpreter will directly understand that you are trying to call a global variable. In that case, the interpreter will find that there is a global variable in the same name of the variable in the parameter of the method print, so it will directly print out 10. If you compile and run this code, you will get 10. Okay, so there is another example over here. We are done with the first example, and the output, it was 10. Let's move to the second example. The second example, before going through that example, remember this note, please. If a function needs to assign a value to the global variable, so the global variable must be redeclared within the function. Okay. Copy. Paste. Well, as you can see here, I have two functions. The first one is the main function, while the second one is show number function. For the first one, which is the main function, it has, okay, before going through the code, which is exist in the main function, let's talk about the variable here. The variable here, because it's not declared inside the main function and it's not declared inside the show number function, so I can say that this variable is global. This variable is global. And as you can see here, that number is accessible from inside the main, and number is also accessible from inside the show number. However, for this note, if a function needs to assign a new value or a value to the global variable, so the global variable must be redeclared within the function. And this is why I am using the keyword global before the word or before the the global variable number, because I want to ask the user about a new value instead of the initialization, which is 0. And once I get the answer from the user, the answer will be saved in a number which is declared as a global. Okay, so remember, if you try to change the value of the global variable, you have to use global followed by the name of the variable in order to be able to change the value of that value. Compile and run. So compile and run, main will be executed. In the main, there is an input call for the input function, and you will be having this question, enter a number. If my answer is equal to 10, and I clicked on, let's assume that I will click on enter. So 10 will be saved in number. So 0 will not be exist anymore. The new value of the number will be 10. After that, when you call show number, interpreter will stop the execution of the main function and it will directly move to show number. In show number, the number you entered is, then the last value of the number, which is 10. It will not be 0 anymore. Let's test. Enter. So the number you entered is 10. So this is the benefit of using the global variable. The benefit is whenever you change the value of the global variable in a function, it will be readable from any other function. This is point number one. Point number two, remember, if you want to change the value of the global variable, you have to redeclare the variable inside the function. You have to redeclare the variable inside the function. Global constant. Global constant, global name that refers a value that cannot be changed. Permissible to use global constant in a program. To simulate global constant in Python, create a global variable and do not redeclare it within the functions. So this is the idea of how to use or how to declare a global constant. So if you want to use or if you want to deal or to declare a global constant, avoid, redeclare it within the function. So if you return back over here, because of this statement, I cannot say that number is global constant, but I can say that number is global variable. If you want to consider number as a global constant, avoid redeclare. So at the beginning of the execution of the program, the value of the global variable will be initialized by 0, and until the end of the program, you will not change the value of the global variable. So in that case, I can say that this is a constant. This is a global constant. If you avoid using a global followed by the variable name, followed by the global variable name. Let's take an example over here. Okay, so in this program, I have 3 different functions. The first one is main with no parameter. The second one is show pay contribute with 1 parameter, which is gross. The third one, which is show bonus contribute with 1 parameter, which is bonus. And I have a global variable here, which is contribution rate, and it's initialized by 0.05 as a value or as an initial value. Okay, so the main or the interpreter here will find that I am calling the main function. So the interpreter will go directly to execute the main function, which is here. And there is a call for the input function, so you will get this question. Enter the gross pay. And because of the word float, so it means that the interpreter is expecting an answer of type float or a value or a number of type float. Once you insert the value of type float and you clicked on enter, so your answer will be saved in gross pay. The same will happen over here. There is an input message, so you will get that, or there is an input function, call for input function. So you will get this question on the console output, enter the amount of bonus. Because of the float here, it means that the interpreter is expecting an answer of type float, and your answer will be saved in bonus. So the first answer will be considered as gross pay, while the second answer will be considered as bonus. So in order to calculate the contribute or the the pay contribution and the bonus contribution, I have to call the function show pay contribute. And I have to pass the value of the gross. And the value of the gross, which is declared in this function, it will be a copy of the value given by the user in the main, which is gross pay. So this statement will do what? This statement will call this function, and a copy which is saved in gross pay will be passed to gross. So if my answer over here is equal to 10, so gross here also will be equal to 10. Okay, so show pay contrib will do what? It will take the value of gross, which is a copy of gross pay. Let's assume that my answer here, it was 10. So gross pay will be 10. So gross pay will be copied to gross. So gross here will be equal to 10 as well. So 10 multiplied by the global constant, which is contribution rate. What is the value of the global constant contribution rate? It's 0.05. So 10 multiplied by 0.05, the answer will be half. And the half will be saved in this variable. Then this message will be printed. Contribution for gross pay, followed by the dollar sign, followed by half, and it will be displayed using the function format in this format. Sub equal empty single quotation, I will explain it very soon. Once the interpreter finishes the execution of this statement, it will directly move to the second statement. And in the second statement, over here, you are trying to call the bonus contribution method or function. And you will take a copy of the bonus, which is entered by the user. Let's assume also it's equal to 10. So bonus equal to 10. So the value of the bonus will be copied to the bonus, which is exist over here. And contribution rate, which is still the same, will be multiplied by bonus, which is equal to 10, and contrib will be equal to half. Then the program will print out the same message over here. And this will be the end of the execution. Let's test, combine and run. So interpreter will start with main. So interpreter will move directly over here, and it will print out this message for you. Enter the gross pay. So if my answer is equal to 10 and I clicked enter, so this answer, which is 10, will be saved in gross pay. Now, interpreter is waiting for the answer for the second question, which is enter the amount of bonuses. If my answer also is equal to 10, so this 10 will be saved in bonus. So when you call the first function pass gross pay, which is equal to 10, so this code will be executed and it will produce this output. When you call the second function and you pass the value of the bonus, which is also equal to 10, so bonus will be equal to 10 multiplied by the contribution rate, which is 0.05. So this function will print out this output, which is this one. Okay, so what does it mean? Separation equal to empty single quotation. And what will happen if I add like 1, 2, 3 spaces and 1, 2, 3 spaces, save my work, combine and run one more time, 10, 10. So if you add spaces here, 1, 2, 3, so the 3 spaces will be used in order to separate the first parameter output from the second parameter output. As you can see, the first parameter output here ended by what? Ended by $sign. So after the $sign, interpreter will add 1, 2, 3 spaces before displaying the value over here. As you can see here, so 1, 2, 3 spaces before printing out the value of contrib, local variable. So separate equal, it means how you would like to separate the first parameter from the second parameter in the method or in the function print. According to your input here, it will be used in order to separate between both parameters. So if you want to remove the space from here and to remove the space from here, so make sure that you will open and close empty parentheses or empty single quotation. So if you compile and run now, remember, I removed the free spaces. So if you compile and run, you will not find these spaces over here. Compile and run, 10, 10. So there is no space between the $sign and the value which is coming after the $sign because of sep equal empty single quotation. Okay, global constant. An important part in any programming language, not only in Python, which is how to generate a random number. How to generate a random number. So to generate a random number, or what is a random number? Random number are useful in a lot of programming tasks. Random module, which is this one, import random. So random is a module. It includes library functions for working with random numbers. Dot notation, which is the dot symbol, which is coming after the random and before the function name, which is randint. What is dot notation? Notation for calling a function belong to a module. So if you want to call the function, which is randint, which is exist in the module random, which is imported over here, you have to use the dot notation. And this is how to call any function in random module. You have to use the random module or the name of the random module, which is random, followed by dot, followed by the function where you want to call, like random dot randint. And remember, because it's a function, so you have to open and close parentheses. And if this function should receive parameters, so you have to pass a parameter. Okay, what is randint, which is a function in use over here? Randint, it's a function which generates a random number in the range provided by the argument. So over here, you will be requesting to provide a random number that will vary from 1 up to 10. It returns the random number to part of program that called the function. So the result of calling this function, which is randint, will be saved in number because I am calling this function after the assign operator of the variable number. So the result of this statement will be saved in number. It returned an integer can be used anywhere that an integer would be used. So let's practice on this example. Copy. Paste. Okay, so over here, in order to use the module random and to call the existing function in that module, which is randint, I have to import the module first. Import random. So what will be the execution of this program? The execution of this program is the main function will be executed first. Then, because of the main function will be executed, so the interpreter will execute this part of the code or this statement. This statement is number as a local variable. What does it mean, a local variable? It means it will be in use in the main scope or in the main function only. So number will not be initialized by a value like 10, for example, like our previous exercises. No. Random will be, or number will be initialized by calling the function randint, which is exist in the module random, and passing two parameters, which is from 1 to 10. So randint will produce a random integer value that will vary from 1 to n, and the result will be saved in number. Then, because of the method print, it will print out the value. Okay, test, compile and run. For the first time, it's 10. Compile and run. It's 3. Compile and run. It's 9. Compile and run. It's 3. Compile and run. 6. If I increase the value over here by 100, for example, save, compile and run. It's 70, 36, 80, 21. Okay, what about if I add minus 25? So the rand_int function will generate a random number that will vary from minus or negative 25 up to 100. Let's test. Compile and run. 80, 75, 26, minus 11. Still within the range. Okay. There is another example about how to use rand_int. Let's practice on that example as well. Okay, so over here in this program, this is the program. It has only one function. The function is main. So I will be calling the main. So the interpreter will go directly to this function in order to start the execution. So there is a local variable here, which is again initialized by letter y in a small letter. And there is a condition over here. This condition is while the value of again is equal to y in a small letter, or the value of again is equal to y in capital letter. So if the value of again is equal to this letter or this letter, it means this code has to be executed. So this code will do what? It will print out rolling the dice, and it will print out their values are. Then it will print out the result of this print statement, followed by the result of this print statement. Over here, you will be requesting from the rand_int function to print out the value that will vary from 1 up to 6. Why? Because the existing values of dice is or will vary from 1 up to 6. So it will print out the first value, then followed by the second value. And as you can see here, if you have a question, the first parameter will be included and the second parameter will be included in the output, the answer is yes. So when you request from the rand_int to produce a value that will vary from 1 up to 6, it means 1 will be considered and 6 also will be considered. Compile and run. So 6 and 5. So as you can see, 6 is a valid range. Okay, one more test. Oh, there was a question and I have to answer the question. Roll them again. If my answer is equal to y capital or y small, it will be accepted. So y capital. So it will be 1 and 6. As you can see, 1 considered as a valid output and 6 also considered as a valid output. So minimum is 1, maximum is 6. Do you want to continue? Here it was y in capital letter. Here it will be y in a small letter. So it will print out 1 and 3. Last test, y in capital letter. So it will print out 6 and 1. Now, if my answer is equal to n, which is no, so this will be the end of the execution of the program. Okay. So this is another exercise or another example about how to use rand_int. Okay. There is another function which is exists in the module random, which is rand range 10 or any parameter. So what would be the output of this segment of the code or this statement in Python? It will return a random number that will vary from 0 up to 10, but 10 will not be included. Actually, the question here is you will be requesting from the interpreter to produce a random value or 10 different values. 10 different values. So 10 different values, it means from 0 up to 9. Because if you count the existing values from 0 up to 9, you will find that it will be 10 different values. So remember, rand range, it will return a random number that will vary from 0 up to 10, but 10 will not be included. Okay, another example, number equal random.rand range, 2 parameters over here. So I can pass 1 parameter. I can pass 2 parameters, which is 3 to 10. It will return a random number from 3 up to 10. It will return a random number from 3 up to 10. And the last one, calling the same function, but instead of passing 1 parameter or 2 parameters, I will be passing 3 parameters. So this will be the range from 0 up to 51, step 10. Step 10. So it will return a number from the following list. 0 is accepted because this is the minimum value. And up to 51, it means the result will be 50 because from 0 up to 51, I have to step 10. So this will be the range of the values that will be produced if you try to execute this segment of the code or this statement. Writing your own value returning function. Writing your own value returning function. What does it mean? If you remember this example, which is the summation of 12 and 45. Yeah. If you remember this example, over here, in order to call the second function, I have to pass 2 parameters. In this exercise, the first parameter and the second parameter passed to the function showSum inside the code. And I give the opportunity to user in order to insert the value of num1 by keyboard and the value of num2 also by the keyboard, right, requesting from the user to insert the first parameter and the second parameter, then get the answer from the user and pass it to the function instead of this way? The answer is yes, we can. So let's practice on this exercise. Yeah, this one. So over here, I have 2 different functions. The first one is the sum function, while the second one is the main function. I will be calling the main first. So main num1 equal to integer input, which means I will be requesting from the user to enter the first number using the function input. And once I get the answer from the user, the expected input or the expected answer will be a value of type integer. So it will be saved in number1. And I will be asking the user the same question one more time. And the expected answer will be an integer value. And it will be saved in number2. Now, I will be calling the function sum. And the first input given by the user and the second input given by the user, which exists in num1 and num2, will be passed to the function sum. So there is no need to pass 12 and 45 in the code. I can ask the user about the value. I can ask the user about another value and pass both values to the function sum like this. So sum num1, num2, interpreter will directly execute this function, and num1 will be added to num2, then the result will be saved in result, and my function will return the result. So sum, when it returns the result, this result will be saved where? In total. Why? Because when I call sum, I call it after the equal sign, which is coming after the total. It means call the method sum, and the return value of the method or the function sum will be after that saved in total. So let's assume that the answer for the number 1 is equal to 10, and the answer of the number 2 is equal to 10 as well. So total will be equal to 20. Look, 10 will be the value of number 1, and 10 will be the value of number 2. Then sum 10 with 10. When you call sum 10, comma 10, it means you will be executing this function. And this function, when it receives 10 over here and 10 over here, so it will add 10 to 10, and the result here will be equal to 20. So this function will return the value of the result, which is 20. So this call will be replaced by 20. So the value of the total will be equal to 20. So I will get this answer, total equal 20. So Control Z for undo, 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 save your work. And this is how the execution will be done. Compile and run for the last time, 10, 15. So the result will be 25. Return expression. Remember, return a value, and it will be replaced, the calling. For that, C, or the total, will be replaced by the value that will be returned from sum, and it will be printed over. How to use value returning function. Value returning function can be useful in a specific situation. As an example, have function prompt user for input and return the user's input. Okay, let's practice on this example. Okay, so over here, I have a local variable, which is discount percentage equal to 20%. When I say that discount percentage is a global constant, it depends. If I never reset the value here in the main or in the get regular price, so yes, this will be considered as a global constant. Okay, let's go through the code here. Main, it means I will be calling the function main. In the function main, I have to calculate the regular price. In order to calculate the regular price, I will call the function get regular price. Remember, when you call a function, so you have to end it by open and close parentheses. So interpreter will stop the execution of the main and will directly go to get regular price. In get regular price, there is a question here. Enter the item's regular price. Once the interpreter gets the answer from the user, the expected answer of type float, so it will be saved in price. Then this function will return the value of price. So let's assume that the value of price will return it back here, so it will be saved in a regular price. Now, sale price is equal to the value of the regular price, which is, I got it from this function, minus call the method discount or call the function discount and pass the value of the regular price. So the interpreter again will stop the execution of the main and go directly to discount And method or function discount will return the value that received as a price multiplied by the value of the global constant discount percentage. Let's test. So enter the item's regular price. Interpreter will go directly to the main. Main has function call. Function call, it means start execution this function, and the first line here is a question, enter the item's regular price. If my answer is equal to 10, so in that case, price will be equal to 10. In that case, this function will return 10. In that case, this call will be replaced by 10. In that case, the regular price is equal to 10. And in order to execute the sale price, so regular price will be equal to 10, and interpreter will replace regular price by 10. Then it will call discount. So the price will be equal to, again, equal to 10. And the price here will be equal to 10. It will be multiplied by 20%. So the answer will be equal to 8, because when you multiply 20% of 10, so this function will return over here, this function will return over where? Yeah, over here, it will return 8. And the output, which is the sale price is 8, will be coming from here. The sale price is, so this value will be replaced by, because of the, after the comma, I have to add 2 digits type float. So this code will be replaced by 8.00. And because of separation equal to empty single parentheses, it means that this value will be attached to the dollar sign. So I will get this answer. Undo, undo, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Save. So this is how, for the sequence of the execution for this exercise or this example. Remember, at the beginning, I mentioned, can I say that this is a constant, a global constant? And my answer, it was yes, if I didn't change it inside any of the functions. And yes, it has been used only over here. And there is no replacement in the main or in the get regular price. So we can say that discount percentage is a global constant. Returning strings, Boolean values. Can I write a function that will return a string or Boolean? Yes, the answer is yes, like here. I am defining a function getName, and I will be requesting from the user to enter his name. His name will be saved in the variable name, and my function getName will return his name. So this is a function that will return a string, and this is how to return a string. This is how to return a string. Okay, can I write a function that will return a Boolean values like true or false? The answer is yes. So I have a function over here, and this function has a name is even, and it will receive only one parameter, and that parameter is number. So if number, let's assume that the number here is equal to 5. If 5 modulus 2 is equal to 0, actually the answer is no, because 5 modulus 2, it's equal to 1. So because the condition here is not true, so the status will be false. So my function is even will return the status, and the status here is equal to false. So this is how to write a function that will return a Boolean value, and this is how to write a function that will return a value of type string. I write a function that will return multiple values? The answer is yes. Okay, so in this exercise, it has two functions. The first one is the main, the second one is getName, and I will be calling the main first. So main interpreter will come over here, and there is first name, comma, last name equal, call a function. So getName function will be executed now. GetName function has a question, enter your first name. My answer will be saved in first. After that, there is another question, enter the last name. My answer will be saved in last. As you can see here, I can return first, comma, last. So first will be saved in first name, comma, comma, last will be saved in last name. After that, I can print out this message, which is first name is first name, last name is last name. Compile and run. So I will get first name is my first name, followed by last name is my last name. What is the importance of comma, sep equal, single quotation? If you remove this part, save your work. Remember, first name is colon space my first name, followed by comma equal, and last name is colon space my last name. If I remove sep equal empty single quotation and I compile and run the program one more time, so in that case, I will get space between all parameters. So after printing this output, even if there is a space here added manually, the interpreter will add one more space. So the interpreter will remove the comma and replace it by one more space. As a result, I will be having double spacing. The first space, which is inserted manually, the second space, which will be considered while using the method or the function print. Look, first space, second space. And the comma here also will be replaced by another space. So after the first name, I will be having another space. And this string will be printed as it is. So, and the last name is colon one space because of the manual space here. Then the comma here will be also replaced by space. So you will be having double spaces. So in order to avoid adding the spaces that will be considered because of using the function print, you can use comma separation equal to empty single quotation, which means do not add spaces automatically. Just consider the manual spaces added manually over here. Compile and run. More test because of the typo. Okay, so as you can see here, there will not be spaces that will be added automatically, but the interpreter will consider only the manual spaces which is added by you while preparing the code of the program. Math module. Math module, part of a standard library that contains functions that are useful for performing mathematical calculation. Typically accept one or more values as arguments and perform mathematical operations and return the result. And how to use the module, or in order to use the module, you have to import the math module. Math, import math. Let's practice on this. Okay, so over here, In order to use the module math, I have to import the math. And in the module math, you can use any existing function like SQRT. SQRT stands for square root. So this program will be executed as follows. Main is calling the main function, so the interpreter will go directly in order to execute the content of the main function. The content of the main function, there is an input, there is a call for the input function, so you will get this question, enter a number. And this number is expected to be of type float. For that, I will be using the function float. And as a result for this code, the answer from the user will be saved in the local variable number. Then, using the module math, I will call the function square root in order to calculate the square root of the number inserted by the user. Then the result of this execution will be saved in the local variable square root. After that, the square root of the value of the number is the value of the square root. Let's test. So enter a number. If my answer is equal to 9, so I will get the following. The square root of 9.0. Why 0.0? Because of the float. The expected answer of type float, so the interpreter will automatically, even if your answer is a value of type integer, the interpreter will convert it directly to a value of type float. Math.square root of numbers, so the interpreter here will compute or calculate the square root of 9, which is equal to 3, and it will be printed over here. The math module defines variables such as pi, which are assigned the mathematical values of pi, can be used in equations that require these values to get more accurate results. The variables must also called using the dot notation. So let's assume that I want to use the value of the pi, which is equal to 3.14159 around. Instead of writing this value manually, you can call the pi variable using the module math. And in this case, the interpreter will replace math.pi by the value, which is 3.14159. So interpreter will do the following. This variable, which exists in this module, will be replaced by 3.14159. This is a round figure. And it will be multiplied by radius to the power of 2. So radius asterisk asterisk 2, it means raise radius to the power of 2. So after raising radius to the power of 2, the result will be multiplied by the value of the pi, and this will be considered as the area of the circle. Well, this is list of the functions which exist in the module math. Arc cosine, arc sine, arctan, exponent, floor, log, log10, sine, SQRT, or square root 10. So using the math library or using the math module, you can call any of the existing functions over here. And we practice on math.sqrt. So it will return the square root of the x. In our example, x replaced by 9, and we got 3. Log any value. It will return the natural logarithm of x. Log 10x, it will return the base 10 logarithm of x. Floor x, it will return the largest integer that is less than or equal to x, and so on. Now, the question here is, can I create a customized module instead of using, not instead, or can I create my own modules similar to the math module? The answer is yes, we can. Okay, in order to create a customized module, first of all, you have to create a new file, and that file will be of type Python. And let's assign a name for that file or save that file. The question here is, this file has to be saved where? This file that will be used as a customized module, it has to be saved in the same folder or the same directory of the group of the program that will be calling it. So if I will be calling this module from testing file, so I have to save this module in the same location of testing. Okay, the question here is how to get the location of testing. To get the location of testing, right-click on testing and click on copy path. If you click on copy path, go to start menu, paste. Go to start menu, paste. And you can remove the name of the file, which is testing.py, then click enter. So you will find that this file, which is testing.py, exists in this directory. C users, my name or my user Ayman Zayan, Dropbox, then followed by the folder Python and the subfolder final. So I will find the file in use. So it means that this location has to be the same location of the customized module that I will create it now. So I can copy the location from here, close, return back. Let's close, return back here, and click on Control S to save. Then I can just go directly to the same location of my file, which is testing, and name it my module, then save. Okay, let's assume that in this module, I will import the module math, and I will define a method test. And this method will return, for example, the value of math.py save. So this is my module. My module has one function. The name of the function is test. And if I call this function, it will return the value of pi. And the value of pi, I will get it from the module math. Okay, how to call this function from my module? Save your work, return back here. In order to call this function from my module, I have to do the same, import my module. So the interpreter will understand that you are trying to import the existing module, which exists in the same position or the same location of your program, and the name of that module is my module. In that case, I can do the following. In that case, I can do the following. The value of pi from my module is, and in that case, I have to call my module, followed by dot, the method test. And remember, do not forget to add open and close parentheses. Why? Because I am calling a function, and the function is ended by open and close parentheses, similar to here. Save your work, combine and run this code, and you will get this value, 3.1415.9, and the rest of the digits. So this is how to implement your own module similar to math. Okay, if I copy paste this code and I replace it value of pi from math module is, and I will replace my module by math dot pi. Save. So I will get the same result. The first one, I'm calling math.pi from my module, which is exist in the function test, while the second one, I'm calling the variable pi directly from math module. So I will get the same answer in the first output statement, and I will get the same answer in the second output statement. I hope that how to implement my module or the customized module is clear.